Sorry. Yeah, here it is. Playoffs are here. Week 14 recap.
Wow.
Yeah, regular season's over. Uh, Man, it's been a ride. It's been quite a ride. Robbie Gould retired this week. Oh, by the way, hey everybody, I'm Aaron. This is Jason. Happy to talk Sooner Nation fantasy football. Yeah, Robbie Gould retired. Do you know how long Robbie Gould was in the league? He was in
I'm
the league. Go
gonna
ahead.
guess. I'm gonna guess. I'm
Yes.
gonna guess 17 years.
Well, I don't have a number for you, but what I do have is an anecdote that when my ex-wife won the league championship, Robbie Gould was her kicker.
Wow.
So he's been around. Robbie Gould has been kicking for a long time.
It's maybe one of those players that everyone's had on their team. Like it'd be interesting to see if everyone has owned Robbie Gould. If all 12 current owners owned him at some point in his career, that would be.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's been around that long. Like
Yeah.
at some point, you bye week fill in if nothing else. Yeah. Everybody's rolling.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Big night tonight. Big night tonight. Before we get to the before we get to the breakdown and the recap and the preview, what's going on tonight?
We are going to watch Shane and his Bulldogs play against the U.S. Grant Bills. I don't know what they are.
Sure.
Yeah. I've heard it's not a very even matchup, so it should be fun. Hopefully, a lot of dunks, and I'm sure Shane lets the guys do a bunch of Globetrotter stuff. Like he's all about that. So I bet we can see some trick plays, buckets of confetti on the coach. It's going to be good.
Speaking of trick plays, there's someone tonight I believe going to be calling a sideline out of bounds play or a end line out of baseline out of bounds play. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, boy, high times. This is
we need more of these bets going on in the league, game by game, rival by rival. Seems like we were a little low this year on those, so maybe next year we can have more fun side bets. So
well, I spoiler alert. I made this one up. It wasn't real. So I guess what you're saying is I just need to make up more bets between people, and then they just have to honor them.
That's great
on the honor system.
My daughter took the ACT this past Saturday, and I thought, man, if that was the punishment for the worst person to be able to have to take the ACT and post their score, that might be my favorite punishment that I've seen. I just can't imagine walking in there with my 16-year-old daughter as a 44-year-old man, just like sign me up for 4 hours of torture just to see what I would score.
That's how we should settle that should be the draft order for best ball. We all go take the SAT.
Josh just signs us up, pays for all of our entry fees.
Oh,
right?
Sure. Yeah. He's probably got a cut of the profits somewhere down the line of the test.
Hey,
he's probably invested in the test.
Probably true. Well, do you want to hit the preview?
Let's do it.
This is a great cold open. We have to have something to be able to follow up. Last week was my favorite show. Two guests.
Yeah, what a show. Yeah, that was amazing. Really amazing.
Let's hit this week's breakdown. That says week 6. That's wrong. Because we are breaking down.
Matchup looks right though.
Yeah.
Humdinger in the 4,200 division. Chris takes down Josh 99-78. Chris has the 50-point lead heading into Monday Night Football. Josh has Tua and Tyreek, so we're all kind of thinking, well, Josh is going to pull this out. I mean, 50 points between them. That Tyreek's going to get his 18 anyway. Tua's getting half. No, Titans had other ideas. Shut them down. Kind of alarming, I think, for Josh here. Both his quarterbacks played really poorly this week.
Looking forward to the preview because he's been the darling all season long. We can't wait for the preview of his first round matchup. But
James Cook has just been kicking A for Chris. Good start for like a month now. Just in time to start trusting him for the playoffs. And Chris needs Cook because Jacobs has just been laboring. Still occasionally getting things done, but man, the Raiders are so bad. Like nothing is coming easy. I see Josh's running back situation like a juicy teen romance movie. It's like Dr. Phantasm, he's the big man on campus. He's dating the head cheerleader. They're the perfect couple until she falls off the top of the pyramid and dies. Okay, so Nick Chubb is the head cheerleader. So one of his best friends, this cute girl, Rachel White, Her friends call her Rashad. So Rachel helps Josh as he mourns the loss of his girlfriend. Sometimes his friends make fun of the relationship, but Rachel, she makes him feel insecure because of it. But they really hit it off, and they spend more and more time together, more than they ever expected when the school year started. And now here we are. It's almost prom. And what does Josh do? Does he invite Rachel to prom? Hell no. He's afraid he's not going to score at prom. So he goes and he scorns this girl who's been at his side all along. And he calls up the escort service for the sure thing. Okay, Josh, enjoy Daphne Montgomery. Rachel's been there all along. I don't know.
It's fantastic. I mean, we'll have to see what he does in the playoffs when it comes time to go to prom, what he will actually do. So I love that breakdown. Did not see it coming.
Nobody did.
It was just what we needed. So I wanted to highlight what you said about Josh Jacobs. That Minnesota Las Vegas game, the
So
only
gross.
point scored with, I think, 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in the game, around there. Just an all-time classic. My daughter, who loves watching football and loves following fantasy, she was rooting for the 0-0 tie so hard. Just like nobody scored. She wanted that. And I got to tell her that the last 0-0 tie in college football was against Oregon and Oregon State, which is known as the Toilet Bowl. And the early 80s, the Civil War game ended in a 0-0 tie, only punts and turnovers, no scores, and there was no overtime, so it was just a 0-0 tie. The last 0-0 game, I think, in the history of college football for sure, but I don't know about the NFL. But that game was
that's amazing.
That game was a stinker. And let's keep going, because we're gonna have to have more talking about Josh going to prom here in a little bit.
Yeah. Ashton Circle knocks off the Rhinos 107-104. Knocking off the defending champ is just the kind of momentum you need before battling the other losers for a superior draft pick. Jake Browning has been like a revelation.
Yeah,
I wonder how different the season might have been if they would have just set Joe Burrow down in September. Set him down for a month. They went 3-1. I mean, 1-3. They went 1-3. Like, Browning could have given you one win. Let the Ravens kick the crap out of him, and the Browns and Aaron Donald, and then Joe Burrow comes in week 5. I don't know. Maybe it turns out different. I don't know. That's all. That's what I have right now. I have dreams and wishes, but I did knock off the defending champions. So take a kick to the balls, Jeff. You can repeat the Josh Jacobs tape for Breece Hall. Man, just like running in quicksand up there. But great one this week. You get those catches.
Yeah,
it is good. He's getting all these reps as a receiver, so now he's going to be this really well-rounded back the rest of the way. That's what I'm telling myself. Jeff needed 19 points from his kicker to beat me, and damn, he almost got it. Brandon Aubrey is awesome.
Yes.
How can he not be everybody's favorite kicker right now? I think it's the best game I've ever seen from a kicker. 4 field goals, and the shortest one was 45 yards.
Incredible. The 59-yarder was just like no problem. It doesn't even look like he's swinging his leg.
He's what a boss. Just what a macho man.
For all of the Dallas fans in our league, they got to feel great going into the actual NFL playoffs, because that guy is just stones, man. I don't think he's ever going to miss.
Yeah, and you think back historically, Dallas kickers have always been like, I mean, they're not quite Chargers kickers, but they are bad historically. Like, you don't trust these guys.
Yeah, no, it just feels like
great.
Yeah, it's got to feel great. It's got to feel like, for a golfing analogy, like that you're just gonna make that 3-footer every time. You're not nervous. You're just gonna go. They're just gonna bang it in. Like there's no nervousness about, oh, are we gonna actually be able to make this extra point? It's really impressive. He's awesome.
60, 59, and 60. It's remarkable.
It's awesome. So I'm super interested in how Mahomes will do in the playoffs. We're gonna, and I love our league. I think it's really fascinating, because as excited as I am for the playoffs, I'm really excited for the Turd Bowl that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So let's talk about Jay going 12-2.
Yeah, Jay takes down Shane 95-85. Encouraging for Jay that his team can win when his quarterback gives him a 20. Now, what's discouraging is your quarterback giving you a 20 heading into the playoffs. Hurts is limited. Is it the knee? That's what they were hearing the announcers say.
Yeah.
Last week on the show, we asked what Coach Bond would do with his wide receiver position. The answer is take Dill out, Puka Nakua in. Come on down. I liked all the teams that made moves this week. I like just putting your chips in. Jay got Pakua. The Rhinos added Kamara, well, and London and Pitts. Um, Drake London already giving me seller's remorse. But I love a team going balls in. Shane almost gets there. A couple guys let him down. Good news is his Eagles do not have to play the Dallas Cowboys next week. They get to play Seattle. Josh Allen does have to play the Cowboys, so we'll see. But yeah, Jay just continues to roll, just gets it done. Shane almost tumbles out of the playoffs, but just barely hanging on. Just kicks Brandon off the ladder that's hanging on, and he gets that last rung.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if there's any conversation. We've had 8 teams make the playoffs forever, and we've never had a 1 and 2 seed get a bye. And move that to kind of maybe 6 teams make the playoffs, 6 teams make the toilet bowl. So a first and second seed can get a bye, because the first and second seed, as we'll see in a little bit, they don't have necessarily guaranteed wins in the first round of the playoffs. So
well, here's what I would love to see we change so that the top seed gets to pick their opponent. I think that's what you do. I think the number 1 seed gets to pick. The division winners are set, but then you get to pick from those other 5.
Yeah.
Number 2 picks from those remaining 4, 3, and then the last 2 play each other. Because man, if you pick somebody and then they beat you,
yeah. That's love it. I love it. And you were kind to me. We'll get to my game in a little bit. The Karate Kid is on the injured list. I mean, just terrible timing for my team. And you said, it was a great text. In fact, I might read it because you were very kind to me. And I was surprised at your answer, and I said so. So I wrote to you something about my poor team getting hurt, and you said, man, I wasn't going to say anything because I knew you already knew how bleak it was. Lousy timing, just brutal. Maybe one of the QBs will be good to go by next Sunday. And I just was so shocked at the compassion, the kindness, and the charitability. And I wrote back, such a kind response. I figured the Cobra Kai, already terribly wounded themselves, was having a party in the streets. And you responded back with, I want you to lose, but I want it to be because you were stupid and chose the wrong guys, not because they got hurt. And I loved it. I shared that with my kids because I was like, this is the kind of charitable response that you want in fantasy football. You don't want to root that the guy's quarterback gets hurt. You just want to pick the wrong guy or make the wrong trade. And as we go back to that, I do want to say Jay's trade, taking Tank Dell and Anthony Richardson, who are doing him no good this year, and trading them for Puka, allowing somebody to feel like they've now got something on the bench for next year. It was the perfect trade, and I love our league. It was just awesome. It was a fair trade, and it allowed a team that was trying to go all in not to have these 2 bench players doing nothing for them, and it allowed a team that was wanting to tank to be able to have some assets for next year. It was an awesome trade.
Yeah, great for both guys. Super trade.
Yeah. Hey, man, let's talk about the Hellhounds and the Rompers game.
Yeah, here we go. True John takes down Chad 111-96. Talk about momentum heading into the playoffs. Man, how about the Hellhounds?
Incredible.
They start the season 1-6. Here, and we all thought, here we go. Here goes John again. He's traded away that it's going to be the number 2 pick overall. Since then, 6-1, and that only single one loss came to the Vipers, who just rolled everybody. So he's deep. John is deep, and he's going to be a big headache for whoever plays him in the playoffs. Here's my question. Is Kyron Williams like special, or is this like Sean McVay Jedi mind trick? Are there 24 guys that could be doing this, or is he like, is this something?
It's a great question. I mean, he looks amazing, but it might just be, you could plug anybody in there like a Chase Brown and he'd be fine. I don't know. It's a great question.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think he's just a guy.
Okay.
But I don't have to answer that question. Chad's gonna have to figure that out. Like, is he a cornerstone you keep, or is it smoke and mirrors and they bring in some real guy, in the off season? But that's a discussion for a later show.
Well, I tried to make some moves before that week, and I offered my 2nd and 5th round pick for Kyron Williams, and he said, no, not interested. He's a keeper. He said, I'm not trading Kyron. He's going to be a keeper. And I said,
okay.
I also tried to trade Herbert before he got hurt, but I had no luck with that, and now he's on the IR. So these teams right here, the Hellhounds, I agree with depth. If I could go back and take a screenshot, but looking at the playoffs, whoever he may play, I would like to be able to just see the decisions that guy has to make.
Yeah, it's going to be
And
fun.
he can't make any trades. I mean, of all the teams that could make more trades in going to the playoffs, it would be the Hellhounds because so many assets, and he's going to be trading so many because he's got more than 6 keepers. And so what
the offseason is going to be just madness.
Yeah, it's like a 6-year-old birthday party. He's just gonna he loves all the assets that he has to be able to make trades. So it was sad to see Nico Collins go out with a calf injury after Tank Dell, after Dalton Schultz, after of course the concussion by CJ Stroud. But I keep talking about my own team. Nobody wants that. Let's talk about my game before we talk about the game of the week, because the game of the week was a tank fest. So let's just roll through the Karate Kid versus Brandon. The lowest point. Just break it down, Aaron, and then we'll talk about the game of the week, the tank fest.
This is a bad one. Brandon wins, but still loses because he doesn't make the playoffs. You lose a game that you don't need, and you lose 2 quarterbacks that you desperately need. I mean, it's bleak here. Trevor Lawrence played great, considering, I thought his season was over a few days ago, and then he did it against the Browns. So I thought, hey, maybe you'll get some good news with Stroud or Herbert, but I doubt it. I would ask what your plan is, but your only option's the waiver wire. Like, kind of rude of Herbert and Stroud to get hurt immediately after the trade deadline. I don't know.
I know, man. I don't know what to say. And then Diggs has scored over 3 points once in the last 3 weeks. Jefferson's out for 10 weeks. I trade all of my depth and all of my future for Jefferson, and he just gets hung out to dry and just drilled so hard that
it was just so nasty.
Oh, I just hurt for him. Again, all of my running backs, I had six viable running backs when I made the trade, and I decided to keep 4, which was starters and backups for the Chiefs in Seattle. And I was thinking that's enough to be able to have, and then trading away Pollard and Gus. And then none of the 4 players were viable starters due to injuries. And then Pacheco also. So I actually kept 5. Every one of my players, all 5 of my legit starting running backs, all were hurt. And it was just one of those, like, it's not my year moments. But you never know. I can't wait. I'm talking myself into that. We'll talk about that in the preview. I'm talking about the potential of maybe rooting for some waiver wire, potentially Tommy DeVito story in the SoonerNation League.
It's a story. We like the narrative.
Yeah, it could be something really special if somebody who's a big favorite ends up losing to like a DeVito-like quarterback in our league. But we got to break down the game of the week, which was John Middendorf throwing away a shot at a playoff victory. Try to take against the Dude Abides. Break it down. Just so you know, I have another slide coming up right here. That is the potential score. The potential score the Middendorf could have had. So I want to hear from you. What you have prepared.
Well, look, once again, being anointed as our game of the week results in a game worthy of the title.
Yeah.
Playoff spot on the line. Monday Night Football. The Pharisees need like 6 points. Doable for a defense, but not a gimme. Not a gimme at all for a defense. The fantasy gods obliged by saying, you will not tank. Here's a Will Levis pick 6. First quarter defensive TD. False John. RKO out of nowhere. Man, John tried to lose. Bijan on the bench. Debo on the bench. Lamar Jackson's 55 points on the bench. Oh, man.
D-Hop, who could not stop catching passes in the second half of that game last night.
God. He's got that hair just flying out of the helmet catching everything on the sideline. And he is, man, that dude, I mean, Hopkins, he knows every dirty trick to cheat but be legal. Then they do stuff and he's like, where's the flag, ref? Oh, if I was a DB, I would hate him so much. But man,
Absolutely
I mean,
incredible. Absolutely incredible.
he's so good.
This was one of my favorite games. I mean, you had two teams both desperately wanting a top pick. The dude abides trading away all of his assets for future picks for Richardson, for Tank Dell, and
Yeah.
then but both, I guess RT, makes you start a player at every position. It doesn't let you not start a player at that position.
Yeah.
And John would have just not started a defense, but he was forced to start a defense. And get that pick six, man. That's when you want cameras in living rooms
Yeah.
during these moments
Yeah.
to be
He's
able
like,
to see.
what?
Uh, and then I can't wait to see the preview because, man, I'm very curious about what will happen.
Yeah.
I told him he has a chance for a playoff win, and I know Josh is not going to like hearing this, but I'm looking forward to the pick section here in a little bit. But
Yeah.
the dude abides. That Josh Dobbs game, man, the 3-0, 10 of
3-0.
23 for 63 yards. There are some bad quarterbacks right now. I don't remember the Derek Carr stat line, but Carr completed so many passes for an ungodly number.
It was like 3 yards a pass. It was.
Oh,
Remember when
just,
Josh Dobbs was the best story? He shows
yeah.
up and how is he so much worse? I guess tape's out now. That's how he's worse. But
He was running over everybody. And then they were like,
yeah.
Josh Dobbs is going to get the best receiver in football back. This is going to be amazing. And
Yeah, look out.
yeah, 10 of 23. So this Middendorf lineup of 155 is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
And has to scare one of the top seeds. Okay. Divisional standings. We had 3 runaway winners. I have to take a moment to take a look at the Brandon Whiteside, Jolkin, Rolkin, Tolkien's total points higher than the Karate Kid. He does not get to go to the playoffs. And I have a stat from Brandon, and I feel bad sharing this out loud, but because I have told myself you can't have the kind of remorse after you make a trade. You have to go forward knowing that the trade has been made and you can't go back. Brandon went back and he put Tyreek in his lineup to see what his record would have been. And he would have been 8-6 and the 4 seed in the playoffs had he not been Tyreek.
Oh man,
that is soul crushing.
Different maker.
You have to hope that perhaps a very hurt Tyreek with that ankle. Tua going a matchup that's not advantageous to the Dolphins on the first round of the playoffs. And then you got to think about, you've got these picks and you've got Garrett Wilson. So Brandon has hope in the future. So he's delayed his gratification in hope for a future payoff. I can't wait to see what happens in future years. And when Nora goes back and watches these videos when she's older to learn about her dad and Tennessee obsession.
Understanding.
It'll be an interesting moment to see how she feels about this moment. So Nora in 2042, want to say thanks for coming back and hearing about what your dad's done in the future. We'll see if it worked out or not. The Galloping Ghost run away with the Eruption Division, and then Hot for Teacher, just an absolute massacre. And just a really interesting breakdown. I love the divisions in our league. I love how they break down. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Overall standings, you've got the breakdown right here. And then you've got, of course, the points champion. Did you see this, Aaron?
No.
Regular season points champion.
Wow.
The Gridiron Vipers by a single sole point.
Now, that's amazing.
I don't know if the points champion is crowned after the playoffs are through, or if it's crowned as regular season points champion. I think it's the regular season points champion. I'm not exactly sure.
It's whatever you say it is, Jason.
I think there should be a regular season points champion before we get to the playoffs because this is absolutely incredible.
There we go. There it is. Jay's the champ.
And you'll see how far down the Karate Kid has fallen after his blazing start with his low point of the season point total for any game all year, week 13 headed into the playoffs. And so the Pick'em contest, tough week.
I did really poorly, but still on top, baby.
Still on top. The Ghosts and Pharisees climbing a little bit closer. This contest, for those who are watching online who are not part of the league, goes all the way through the Super Bowl. We just keep picking games. I believe the champion is elected after the Super Bowl.
So 4 more weeks.
Gives us a chance to keep picking games. The best ball contest was very interesting. I don't know.
How'd that taste? Wow!
Team Jason took down Smitty pretty handily. But the Pharisees, who again just an absolute incredible week for the Pharisees. I love the best ball. Thanks, Josh, for putting it on. The best ball playoffs don't start until the week, I believe it's week 16 and 17. So it's one more regular season week, and it's just a 2-week playoff for the top teams. And those top teams, if the playoff started this week, would be Smitty and the Hellhounds versus, and then the Colin and Team Jason. I believe that's how the breakdown would be. It's the top team in each division plus the 2 other highest point scoring teams. So maybe we need to have Josh on next week.
Yeah, let's
playoffs.
I don't know.
But it's the top division winner plus the 2 other teams with scored the most points, and somehow the Hellhounds have a better record than Josh right now in the victory points for a breakdown. Must be divisional record, or since it's Josh's leagues, he could just tell us that he won the
what would we know?
Yeah, we would not know at all. So here's the overall standings for the best ball. I believe we have one more week of regular season before the playoffs. And now we have the week 14 preview for the playoffs. We're going to start with what you call, I don't know if it's called the toilet bowl, but I do believe the word turd has been used. And my favorite use of the word turd is on Celebrity Jeopardy with Turd.
All-timer. Yeah. All-timer. It's funny. It's a funny name.
It's a funny name. It's a funny name. Funny hat. So we've got Turd Ferguson breaking down the very first matchup in the toilet bowl for the #1 pick. That's an incredible time. People in this league, we don't give up after the playoffs, but because it also, these next 2 weeks are very important. Ashton Circle versus Brandon in the first matchup of the toilet bowl.
Hey, here we go. Here we go. Brandon won by 2 points back in week 7. I know how crazy it sounds, especially after the Vikings just shut out the Raiders. But I like Jake Browning versus the Vikings better than Trevor Lawrence versus the Ravens, especially with no Christian Kirk. You probably don't recall, but it was a long Lawrence to Kirk touchdown last time that did me in. We're not going to be having that this time. Christian Kirk, gone. Tyreek, gone. I don't have to face those fools this time. I still got McCaffrey. He's still better than whatever I'm throwing out. It doesn't matter. I kind of like the rest of the lineup, though. I kind of like it. Jamar Chase is coming off his lowest game of the season. I know he wants that receptions record for the Bengals. I've seen him interviewed about it. I think he's getting there. He's going to get there. Taysom Hill had the goose egg last week. I guess Brandon's rolling with Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, if I'm being rational, maybe I go Brandon here, but I'm not rational. It's time for the Cobras to shed the cocoon, shed the Ashton Circle, and rise from hibernation, reborn to claim the top draft pick. Here we go.
I'm obviously taking Brandon. Nobody wants you to have a top 2 draft pick. That Marvin Harrison, Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze. I mean, there's going to be a running back there. John's not going to be able to make any trades in the offseason. Everyone's just going to just block his number. And so he's going to have to drop a bunch of keepers. So there's going to be all these players that are going to be there for the picking. And I just think for the totality of the year to be able to see that Brandon will going to have, I think Brandon's going to have like 6 of the top 24 picks in the draft. And he has some big chippers. I mean, it's incredible. So I think that he is going to be rewarded for the sort of the course of the season's work and take care of Ashton Circle this week. Ashton Circle being that 3 or 4 pick, probably pick 4. So it's just out of reach to not be able to get Harrison or Caleb. I guess, well, I tell you what, even saying that out loud, I think those are the 2 prizes, Caleb and Marvin. We'll see what happens in the draft and where they go. But this game for these 4 teams are so important because the winners of these 2 teams guarantee you a shot at Marvin or Caleb. So, wow.
Marvin would look good as a Cobra, though. I mean, you could see it. You could just see Marvin and Jamar running side by side.
Oh, my gosh. How many? Who was for Brandon's sake, who was the owner that owned Harrison for most of his career in RT Sports?
Mindenhall had him the most.
Yeah, I was going to say John, too. So, well,
I think the other John had him a while. I think I had him 1 season, but I think the longest was Mindenhall.
Okay, I remember you trading. I thought it was for Harrison on a plane to Toronto one time, but maybe that's It's an old
I
story.
did make a trade with Middendorf on an airplane, and I
Uh,
believe it was for Marvin.
yeah.
That's good. Wow, encyclopedia. Yeah,
Well, we need historians. So, but these two games are so important. I just think they're huge. I will be
yeah,
watching these two games as much as the real playoffs because of how important this win is. You get a win in
yeah.
this round, you get a
This is the
shot
one.
at Harrison or Caleb. So break down the
Yeah.
Dude Bides versus the Rompers as well. This is an exciting matchup too. So good.
Yeah, they had a really gross game back in week 7. Chad won 81-64. Like, no matter who Jeremy goes with at quarterback, and you could make a case for all three of them.
Yeah.
I think Stafford's going to outscore him. I do think it's going to kind of be close at quarterback, probably a wash. It'll be interesting to see if Chad gets cute with Ritter after that huge game that he had. I doubt it. Chad doesn't seem like a get cute kind of a guy. Uh, you know, in the last couple of weeks, Lydell traded away David Montgomery, Javonte Williams, Alvin Kamara, and Puka Nakua. Like his team is gutted. Now he's loaded. You were talking about draft picks with Brandon. Carr's got 3 firsts, 2 twos, and 2 threes.
Wow.
That I mean, he is loaded. He can make a gigantic move this offseason if he wants,
Yeah.
or he can just sit back and just stockpile guys. I don't know, but he is too depleted, I think, to get past Chad. I think the Rompers are going to go off, especially all his Rams are playing the Commanders. I think this is a win for Chad.
Oh man, this game is it's just so wonderfully gross. I absolutely love everything about it. I would take all of the quarterbacks because I don't have a
Yeah,
starter. I don't have a
yeah, you
starter.
would.
I'm just like any of these guys I would love to have on my team. Um, I'm gonna take the dude abides because I just think that Sam Howell somehow is going to just score 57 points and it just, I don't know, for some reason, I just
Oh, they're
feel
playing
like,
each other.
what's that? Yeah,
Stafford and Howell.
it's such a great game. It's the Sunday
I,
afternoon game.
I love that.
It's absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
It potentially is going to come down to the Rompers having Jason Myers, who he traded for traded Zach Moss for Jason Myers. We get the Monday night Philly Seattle game.
Oh yeah.
It's just it's just great. There's a Thursday starter. You've got every game represented. I think it's an absolutely a great game. And the winner gets a big prize. So I mean I don't know who gets 1 or 2 if it matters as much, but man, the fall into 3 and 4 is a huge deal. And so I'm going to take the dude abides to beat Chad. I'm picking a Carr Brandon final for the #1 pick, while you are picking a Ashton Circle Chad. So lots at stake there as we go to the breakdown
Here
of
we
the playoff.
go.
So
My man, Jim Mora.
I don't think I got a sponsor this week. I think I've left that out. I thought I was going to be able to fit that in. So we're going to have our game of the week is going to be sponsored by Jim Mora himself. And now the breakdown of the fantasy football playoffs. We have the starting us off is going to be the breakdown Rhinos versus Mahoney.
Oh man. Yeah, Jeff lost to Chris in week 2. He avenged the loss in week 13. Defending champ has lost 4 of his last 5, just stumbling into the playoffs. Mahomes is struggling, and here comes Dak Prescott, hottest quarterback north of Havana. I like Chris to win at quarterback. Dak has just been killing it. Buffalo's tough, not as tough, not no Matt Milano, not with no Von Miller in there getting in trouble. I do think Jeff's going to whip him at running back though. Jeff's guys, I like their matchups so much better than Chris is a receiver. Also, I think really every position except quarterback. I think Jeff just destroys Chris. Kicker's fun because you got the old best kicker versus the new best kicker. Chris has Young Oku in there, but surely he's going to start Tucker. I don't know. Unless Chris can get some like Brandon Cooks combo touchdowns, I don't see he gets past Jeff. We chose against Chris last week. He stormed off the set, proved us wrong. Can he do it again? I say no. I say Chris loses.
Okay, this is exciting. I don't know where we stand. I need Brandon to do some math for us, but I am picking Mahoney to beat the defending champs because of the Dak Prescott, Brandon Cooks, James Cook. He's just going to cook up an absolute win over the champs. And I just don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he does with Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs a little banged up. Chris has 13 fab bucks left. Raging Rhinos has 44 fab bucks left. So he doesn't have a lot of money to go out and get another running back, but there is, he can find somebody out there if he wants them. But that could be blocked by the Rhinos. Maybe the Rhinos try to block that pickup of a running back. So pretty exciting matchup here. I love it. I love the Pat versus Dak. And Pat's little hissy fit on the sideline and then later apology. I mean, he's not the darling. And here we have Dak. No. He's on America's team and he's America's hero right now.
Yeah.
He looks incredible. I think Buffalo's going to give up 60 points to the Cowboys, couple touchdowns from Brandon Cooks, and I think it's going to be a runaway victory. And I'm shocked that I'm saying this because I did at one point say I would never pick Chris to win a game, and he has built a strong team, and I'm picking him to win and get to the semifinals.
Man, you're crazy.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look at this matchup. The 3 seeds. We've got a huge favorite here, and it's not the 3 seed.
Well, and you met back in week 8, and the Hellhounds won by 27 that week. So there's no fear in these Hellhounds when they see the Karate Kids lined up doing their crane kick. Jason, outside of Kelsey, I think I like Mendenhall at every position over you. Now, by my count, there's 9 free agent quarterbacks starting this week that are available.
Yeah.
There's 9. You have $11.
Yeah.
You're going to get somebody.
But I already have 7 lined up. 7 lined up in my waiver wire. If someone needs to snipe somebody, I don't know how far that thing's going to go down, but I've got 7 lined up. And if I don't get one of the 7, hopefully there'll be somebody dropped for me to pick up one of the last 2
on the Saturday. The Hellhounds, he's got 116.
Yeah, he does.
So interesting to see what kind of chess match, who he keeps from you. We talked about how deep the Hellhounds are. That means he doesn't have a lot of roster space to play games with.
Yeah, he don't.
Maybe he thinks it doesn't matter.
The only player he would want to drop would be a second kicker. He's got 2 kickers. I think he can pick up 1 quarterback. It's kind of like the whole chess match, or maybe if in my instance you're playing checkers and not chess because this team looks really bad headed into the playoffs. But there's just something about the idea that if he picks up a quarterback and lets me choose another quarterback, like he's choosing his own adventure here. It'll be really interesting. I have hope that one of these random bench quarterbacks just has a great game. And I kind of get it right off into the sunset in the playoffs. I am going to pick myself to win because I'm never going to pick John Mendenhall to win, but I'm sure you're going to pick John Mendenhall. When I saw who he's playing, he's got Brock Purdy inside against Arizona. He's got Miami at home. He's got Saquon inside against New Orleans. I mean, it is just, he's got Olave indoors. I mean, it's just it's absolutely great. And the Jets playing against Tua, who did not look great. Got sacked a bunch. He just didn't look great. And I don't know how if Hill's going to be, if Tyreek's going to be healthy. So
that ankle.
This is right where the Karate Kid is used to being, counted out, injured, just going to be in the lab, with Miyagi. Going to the lab with Miyagi all week. Can't wait to see what happens. I'm taking the kid. I don't even think you have to say it, but obviously you're going to be taking the Hellhounds.
Yeah, Hellhounds sweep the leg.
Yeah.
Get him a body bag.
Oh, okay. Look
at this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Josh took down John in an explosive game back in week 8, 139-102.
Wow.
Jets, as you were just talking about, that is a tough matchup for Tua. Only 22 points against them a month ago in New York. Yep. This one he's at home. I don't know. I don't think you can roll with Goff versus Denver. Not after Goff gave him 16 last week.
Nope. By the way, he looks terrible, and so does Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. I don't know what happened in Detroit because they were like a carnival ride, and now there's just smoke coming out. I don't know.
Thanksgiving Day just absolutely ruined the rest of their season. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's terrible. I don't know. The Pharisees have been a fun story this season. From the dregs of despair to stumbling into the playoffs. The Ghosts are beatable this week. We talked about Tyreek's injured ankle, but I think the fairy tale season, the Pharisees season comes to a violent end at the hand of Red Grange and his galloping ghost. Josh has just got too much. He's just got too much. Unless he screws up the prom, it's his to win. So I'm going to pick Josh and just hope he doesn't just, get drunk and throw up on his date.
I've been looking at this one. I'm picking Pastor John Middendorf on Joy Sunday of Advent. You had hope. Sunday, Advent 1 is hope. Advent 2. And now we have Joy Sunday. And I think it's going to be a joyous Sunday on Sunday night. John loves a Sunday night game. He loves getting to sit down and have call the game. Having Collinsworth going into the Hall of Fame this week for the games he calls. He gets to just have all of the responsibilities done. He's preached his message, Joy Sunday. And I think he's going to sit down. I think Lamar's going to lead him to victory, because I don't think that Tua and Tyreek are going to get it done on Sunday at noon. And I just look at the matchups, and I just think that if you were to have a draft right now to say, who do you want in the playoffs? Deebo Samuel, for a non-quarterback, might be the number 1 overall pick. He looks like a monster, and he's playing indoors at Arizona. I just think that it's a huge week. I do love the matchups that John has. He tried to throw the week, and I think he's going to find himself in the semifinals. Wow.
Jason, if Tyreek's ankle is okay, I like both of Josh's wide receivers more than Deebo. And Deebo has been awesome. He's been awesome, but CeeDee Lamb has been just a ninja. He's been just dancing through it. He's getting 10 catches a week.
He's awesome.
The whole offense just runs through CeeDee Lamb ever since their bye.
Yeah.
And then Tyreek is the best player in football if the ankle's good.
Yeah.
So Deebo has been remarkable, but just the guys on the other side are too strong.
I don't know. I just think that you said the fairy tale season for John's over. I think the fairy tale season for the Ghost is over. It harkens me back to the days of Adrian Peterson having a regular season that was unforgettable, and then to the playoffs and Josh, and he would score 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, and he would just not do it in the playoffs. And there's nothing worse. Maybe I just am trying to root for the underdog because I'm such an underdog, but I think this is an incredible game, and we have, I believe, one last game. Again, sponsor being Jim Mora himself. We have a number 1 seed versus a 6-8 team, and what a game we have. Break it down, A2.
Yeah, quirky schedule because these two guys just played each other last week, and here they go again. Shane won in week 3. Jay evens the score in week 14. Neither team in the previous matchup has scored 100 points. Like, out of 4 possible games, nobody breaks 100. They know each other so well. Quarterback's wild. Like, Josh Allen's got to deal with the Dallas defense. They give up big plays, but they're ferocious. They're going to pick him off. I mean, nobody picks off more people than Deron Brand, and nobody throws more picks than Josh Allen. So there's a pick 6 in there for the Cowboys. Doubling hurting Josh Allen here because Jay's going to get the points one way and lose them the other side. Hurts for Seattle isn't great, though. Hurts has not looked sharp. Seattle's got nasty corners. I don't think either quarterback breaks 40. Joe Mixon, he should do well. They've been running a lot of offense through him. Tajay Spears looks better than Henry. But it looks like Jay's already pulled him out. Javonte versus Detroit, like that could be nice. But Shane's just this unique matchup for Jay because he's got all those Eagles in there, AJ Brown and Swift. So I don't know. It cancels out so much of what Hurts does. I feel terrible about this pick, but I'm taking Shane.
No way. Okay, I was also going to take the 8 seed. Now I don't want to because you're taking him. Can you?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Really? Okay.
I hate this. I do not like it, but I think it's Shane.
Okay. I've not spent nearly as much time other weeks looking at and trying to find projections and because this is the best week. This is the week. This is the best week in fantasy football. The first week of the playoffs. Next week you have 4 teams gone. Some people don't even look at it after they lose. They're just like, I'm done. I'm going to come in later season. I mean, and then the next week is the championship week. But again, you've got even more teams. Everyone in the Toilet Boy's not watching. Everyone is super invested in this week. It's the best week in fantasy football. And I too am taking Coach Shane over the 12-2 Vipers.
12-2. Nobody beats Jay, but it's just
here's my prediction coming in because I was picking Shane, And I was going to say that either Jay or Josh or another team is going to come after the season and say, hey guys, we have too many playoff teams. The regular season doesn't mean as much anymore. We need to have 6 playoff teams, and the number 1 and number 2 seed get a bye and be able to then pick their opponents for the next week, because we need some sort of a reward for finishing the top 2 seeds, because somehow these matchups and the one, actually, I think that I'm picking myself to win the 3 seed, but John's a huge favorite. True John's a huge favorite. I think this week the odds on would be the 1, 2, and 3 seeds all going down. That's just absolute mass chaos. I can't wait to see what happens. It's an incredible year. I already can't wait for the draft next year because of the implications that we have already for this week's games for the number 1 and number 2 pick. This may not have been our best show, but it's definitely the most exciting because of the week we have coming up on Thursday night. So Thursday game,
here we go.
3 Saturday games, and then we've got
so much football
played on Sunday night, Monday night. And so we're just going to be football overload. I cannot wait, and I hope to we'll see how we both feel coming next Tuesday when we record.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. And this is the last time 4 teams are going to set their lineup.
Oh man,
savor it.
It's always my least favorite, and it's happened to be multiple years, is when you make the playoffs and lose the first round. It's just that's
the worst.
You're in no man's land, and
picking
you don't
7.
have a top 4 pick, and you're just sitting around. And there's been moments when I've just like deleted the tabs and been like, okay, I can't do it. The show is going to keep me in it. And these moments together with you are going to keep me in it. Thanks to everyone for watching, for your feedback and commentary. The posts on the message board are always great.
For sure.
And we'll look forward to seeing everyone tonight at the game. If you watch this, if you haven't, I hope we saw you at the game and saw the creative.
It was great to see you.
Creative sideline out of bounds play called by Pastor Coach John Middendorf. See you, buddy.
Yeah, good job.
Hey.